Hey, today I want to talk to you about twist stitches and methods of working twist stitches without using a cable needle. Twist stitches are pairs of stitches that are crossed over each other in knitting so that um, the right one either crosses over the left or the left one crosses over the right. And you can use a cable needle to do these, but because oftentimes they are worked repetitively in a pattern, it's really helpful to learn to do them without a cable needle. So I'm going to show you how. I'm going to show you 2 or 3 methods for each type. Let's start with left twist stitches. A left twist stitch is where a stitch moves to the left over the one next to it. I'm going to work a few stitches into the row here. I'm using big needles and big yarn in the hope that you can see the detail of what I'm doing a little more clearly. Okay, now I want to move the first stitch over the second stitch. So I'm moving the first stitch left in a left twist. And you can work a knit stitch over a purl stitch or a knit stitch over a knit stitch. I'm going to work a knit stitch over a knit stitch. So the first way I'm going to show you is to use my right hand needle to grab the second stitch through the back of the loop like this. I'm going to put my thumb on the first stitch and pull both of them off, and then put my left needle through the first stitch. See how I'm twisting them over each other. Then once they're crossed on the needles, I knit across the 2 stitches. And now they are crossed. I'm going to show you that one again. So I'm using my right hand needle. I'm putting it through the back loop of the second stitch. I'm going to put my thumb over the first stitch and pull both off the needles. So the first stitch is loose, but I'm very quickly going to pick it up with the left hand needle and slip the second stitch back onto the left hand needle so that it is now first, and knit across both of them. Now I'm going to do it a little more quickly without words. Very smooth, right? Okay, that's left twist, and you can see the stitches twisted left in the leftward direction here. Okay, now the second method of doing a left twist is a little bit trickier, but if you've been doing the first method over and over, you may eventually want to segue into using this method. So for this method, once again, I reach behind the first stitch, and now I'm going to grab the second stitch through the front of the loop and knit it, knit through, and then I'm going to knit the first stitch. So the positive aspects of this is that no stitch ever leaves the needle. You've always got your stitches on the needle, and when you're done, they are crossed. But the tricky part is that it really works best when the knitting is already loose, like on a larger needle or at a looser gauge, like for a shawl. So once again, I take my right needle and I put it through the front leg of the second stitch. So that's a little tricky. Knit through, and then knit the first stitch through the front loop. There you go. And both of those methods produce twist stitches that keep the stitches involved from twisting around themselves. There's a third left twist that you can use. However, you will be twisting one of the stitches in it. So with this twist, you'll work through the back of the second stitch first, which is actually going to twist that stitch, and then through the front. So you'll still end up with twisted stitches, but the back one will also in and of itself be twisted, which probably only you will ever know. It might give the front stitch a little bump, which is, you know, can be kind of nice too. So let's do that one more time. I'm going to go through the back of the second stitch and knit, and then come forward and go through the front of the first stitch and knit, and then pull both off the needles together. Now I'm going to come back in a second and show you how to do right twists without a cable needle. All right, let's do some right twists now. Now in the right twist maneuver, the second stitch on the needle needs to move to the right over the first stitch so that they cross like this. And there are several ways to do this. The first way is, and this is the easiest way and totally acceptable and really just super easy to do. Knit 2 stitches together and then knit the first stitch again. And then pull both off the needles and voila, they are crossed. So let's do that again. Knit 2 stitches together, just like a knit 2 together, pull the yarn through and then knit the first one again. And they are right crossed now. Now, another way to do this would be to knit the second stitch first and then knit the first stitch. The nice thing about the right twist is you have more options of doing the right twist right on the needles without moving stitches. So both of those methods can be done without taking any stitches off the needle. So knit the second stitch first and then knit the first stitch. Pull them off together and they're crossed. And then, of course, a third way would be to grab the second stitch with the right hand needle, pull both stitches off the needles, thread the first stitch onto the left needle, then thread the second stitch onto the left needle, in which case they're crossed, and then knit both of them, one after the other. And they're crossed. I'm going to pull this fuzzy out so it's not in the way. I'll do that one more time. So grab the second stitch with your right needle, put your forefinger on the first stitch and pull both off, then thread the left needle through the live stitch and then through the first stitch and then knit across both. And you can do any of these methods, whether it's knit over purl or knit over knit. Twist stitches without a cable needle, a good thing to know.